Hi everybody on Facebook Live. We're here at City Gate with Main Point Women of Faith. I don't really have any announcements. We've talked about the Family Fun Day coming up in September, so I'll probably talk about that closer to the time again. So I'm going to introduce our speaker tonight. It's Janae Hostetter. So if you want to come up, Janae, I'll just say a word of prayer for you, and then it's all yours. Okay, well, Father God, thank you so much for Janae and her willingness to come and share some of her story with us. I know you've taken her places she probably never thought she'd go, but that's who you are, and that's what you do. And so we just pray for her tonight, that you'll give her the words that we need to hear, and that you'll take away any nervousness or anything she might be feeling. And we just pray for blessing on her life, her ministry, her family, and we'll give you the honor and the glory of what you're doing in her life and through her family's life and through her ministry. So thank you again for her, and we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So what I should have said before, while I was introducing you, is I know you because she's the leader of the Mom's Prayer Group, right?
Yeah.
That meets to pray for the students in the Ephrata School District. And I know her because they used to come and pray up at our other building at 110, but now they can't because we had a water leak. And if anybody knows how to fix things, please contact me. But it was great to have your group up there. I love that because City is all about prayer. And so I was very sad when we had to stop doing that. But you're still doing it somewhere, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. We're meeting at a church. So
good. Well, you might talk about that. So anyway, there you go.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm Janae. It's an honor to share tonight. So I appreciate meeting all of you. I have shared my testimony of what I felt like I was supposed to share tonight about our oldest daughter, Aaliyah Joy, who was stillborn. I've shared it before, but I used to share it a good amount, like when it first happened, but I haven't. So it actually felt really good to prepare a little bit tonight to pray. I was like, I feel like it is a new season for our family, but it also feels a little bit weird. I'm like, oh, gotta think about what I want to say. So much has happened from the last time I would have shared some of Aaliyah's testimony. But just a little bit about myself. My husband, Rod, and I, we've lived in Ephrata for 12 years. Before that, I'm from Lancaster originally. Never knew about Ephrata, like growing up. Never thought I'd be here, but we love it. We love this small town. We love that you can see everyone. Basically, you walk out the door and you see someone you know, and like the fair, like there's so many. We just love this small town. So we live here in the borough. We have 4 living children, 13, 11, 9, and our youngest will be 7 in a few months. And I'm going to share today about our oldest, Aaliyah, who would be 15 this October. I can't believe she'd be 15, like starting high school. That's crazy. So, so yeah, my husband is a physician assistant. He works at the urgent care, now patient first. He was at LGH urgent care, now patient first. He loves not knowing what's going to like walk in the door, whether like broken bones, stitches. Like me, I would personally hate that. Like I'm a planner type A, and him, he's like, oh, this is great. Don't know, but he loves like practical, hands-on, helping people, like quick fixes. So that's been a really good thing for him. And I've been able to stay home with the kids, so I appreciate that. And yeah, I help to lead the Moms in Prayer group. It's actually the elementary group. There's 2 different groups. So there is an older one, but it's been an honor to pray with other Christian moms. It's not like a huge group, but faithful, consistent. We pray for the teachers, the schools, the community here in Ephrata, and like I've seen amazing answers to prayer. So just a plug for Moms in Prayer. It is an international organization, and there's groups all over. Homeschool moms, older kids, I mean, grandma's praying, so it's amazing. And yeah, just get to see what God's doing. So God is doing a lot here in Ephrata. Our kids are all in public school. We feel good about that. It is a mission field, as you know. And so yeah, just feel really blessed with the high Christian presence even in our public schools. So that's a little bit about me. But Kim, like, yeah, literally you just like set the stage for what I want to say tonight. So I appreciate that. But like my number one thing I felt the Lord say is just as I share our testimony tonight of Aaliyah's life, like the main thing is that as we experience trial or difficulty, which we know we all do, as Kim said, no one's promised an easy, perfect life. We all have a trials and testing. If you haven't experienced it yet, you will, but I think probably all of us by this time have. But the most important thing is to seek the Lord. And when you seek him, he has the ability, the power, the resources, like, to bring the breakthrough. So some of the things I might share tonight might seem supernatural, because they are, but I think the only reason we have a supernatural testimony, I have my tissues because I never know when I'm going to cry. Sometimes I can be fine sharing this whole thing, and then other times I'm like a hot mess. So you're welcome to cry with me. They might come. I'm used to crying. I cry all the time. So anyway, I can feel it coming on. But the only thing that sets our story apart, like I feel like for Aaliyah's life, is because we chose to seek the Lord. Even though it was hard and the obedience piece was hard. And I feel like a lot of people didn't understand our story either. But I think it's the reason of why we saw such breakthrough. So as you listen to my story, if there is something in your life right now, which I'm assuming I have something right now I'm even thinking about, that you need breakthrough on, like instead of like comparison, because I know I've done that with speakers, just like, oh yeah, well that's just her. Like, I'm a normal person. I'm a mom that yells at her kids. I have disagreements with my husband. Like, have the anxieties, like all things. The only difference with this story is that, like, I really feel like we press into the Lord, and I think that's my encouragement. Like, be encouraged, whatever your area that you need a breakthrough, it looks different for every person. Just press into him, and he will give you the breakthrough that you need, or the peace, or the joy, or whatever it is. So I'm going to go to the very beginning, which feels like a long time ago, but in around January of 2010, soon after my husband and I were married, I really felt during quiet time with the Lord that he was speaking Isaiah 60, 1 and 2 over me. I had no framework for this verse. It was one day I was reading the Bible, I was like, oh wow, that's like really powerful verses. And I really felt I journal a lot, and like it stood out to me a lot, and I was like, I'm just gonna write this down. So I'll read it now. You probably have heard of them. Isaiah 60, 1 and 2. I'm also gonna read 3. It's, arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord arises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and his glory is over you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. And I read that, and I was like, wow, these are powerful verses, but like, had no clue how they would impact me. So shortly after that, I found out I was pregnant, which it was our first baby. Of course, I'm like so excited. I remember it was a huge snowstorm of 2010, if you remember, in February. I mean, it was ridiculous amounts of snow. We lived in Lancaster City. My husband was out there like shoveling so high. And we're running out to him like, we're pregnant, like celebrating, I don't know, giving each other a hug and a kiss in our parking lot behind our house in the city. Like, so elated, on cloud 9. But soon afterwards, at about 12 weeks, I had some bleeding, and, you know, I thought I was miscarrying. So we went into Women's and Babies, and they did an ultrasound, and I saw the baby, like, moving around the screen. I'm like, oh my word, like, I'm sure the baby's fine, like, this is amazing. So we wait and wait and wait. There was an emergency, like, 3 hours later, something like that. The doctor comes in, she looks really somber. She's like, I know it's really early on, but we think there's something wrong with your baby's brain. We're like, what? Like, you can see the baby moving. Like, she's like, no, we're gonna send you for further testing. Like, something is off. And so we're like, praying for the best, hoping for the best, like, but they sent us to maternal fetal medicine about a week later, which felt like eternity. And they told us, they gave us, even that early on, that they told us the diagnosis that our baby had anencephaly. Most people have never heard of that because most babies with it are aborted. I understand why. The doctors say that the babies, they would term it incompatible with life. And what it is within the first 30 days of conception, the neurotube forms in a baby, which is crazy. It's that soon. But when it forms at the top, it forms the skull. When it forms at the bottom, it's the base of the spine. And if it doesn't close right at the bottom, it's spina bifida. You've probably all heard of that. You know people with spina bifida. They're often in a wheelchair or not. But when it doesn't form at the top, there's a lack of skull. And as a result, while the baby's in utero, the brain literally dissolves. So they're left with the brain stem. It's horrible. So there's nothing that doctors can do. And it's kind of a controversial thing because the baby's kicking, moving, like It presents like a normal pregnancy, like you would never be able to tell. I think Aaliyah was like more active, I would say, but the baby can do okay in the womb, but then come time of birth, they usually are stillborn or pass away shortly after. So the doctor that day told us there were options, and we said, we don't want to hear them. We believe God gave us this child, like we would not abort this child. But it began a 6-month journey of like, okay, God, this is not what we expected. I was actually blessed to be able to quit my job. I was a mental health caseworker, and it was an extremely stressful job. And just with everything going on, my husband was in agreement. He's like, why don't you just quit your job? So I did. But I feel like it was like my time of really seeking the Lord. Like I was able, I know not everyone can do that. I could never do that now, but really I look back on that time as like such a treasure because God was so close. Like I started having crazy things happen. Like talk about like birds. Like I felt like there were cardinals everywhere. Like they'd land super close by, and then I'd have butterflies like appearing everywhere. Yes, like they'd land on me. People would be praying for us, for the baby. Butterflies would come. Like it was just like I'd find them on my seat, like dead. I'm like, what does that mean in my car? Like I literally one time was praying, and I forgot the story till right now. Going down 283, you know how fast that road is that you're traveling. And literally had a cardinal dive bomb at my windshield. I thought I was gonna smack it, and it flew up over top of the car over me, coming the opposite way. I'm like, I think that was an angel. Like deer, like I go for walks in Lancaster County Park. I know it sounds weird, but like I was asking the Lord for visible signs, and we were praying for Aaliyah's healing, and we probably had 30 different people be like, I had a dream, I had a vision, I felt like God told me this, like. So, like, I felt like there were people praying all over the world. And again, a lot of people didn't understand our position, but we were like, what do we have to lose? Like, as you're talking about in Scripture, like, you see the miraculous. Like, Jesus said to pray for the sick. It's not how I grew up. So, like, our whole family, like, joined on board. Like, it literally was a transformation for our entire family, which is incredible. I just felt like we became more kingdom-minded and aware, like what you're talking about, of, like, God at work, even in simple things, and showing up in supernatural ways. We decided to name her Aaliyah, and I didn't even know what I liked the sound of the name. I thought it meant rising, and her middle name Joy, so rising joy. And someone came, they're like, do you know what Aaliyah means? And I'm like, rising? They're like, Aliyah is what the Jews do when they go up to the temple to meet with God. They make their Aliyah. And I was like, oh my word, I feel like I'm having an Aliyah moment. I didn't even know that's what her name meant. So just like things like that of confirmation. But probably like one of the biggest things that really impacted me, I will share this, is I was praying for an angelic encounter. Because angels are all throughout Scripture. I'm like, well, then I'm going to pray for one because I feel like they always encourage. So I was praying, and I was at a women's conference up at, I think it was Christ Community Church. And they were talking about angels and how they come, they visit people in Scripture. And that night I had a dream, and it felt like real life. And in the dream there was like, I felt like I was on an operating table, my shirt was up, my belly, I was really pregnant at the time, my belly was super exposed, it was like a bright light. And there was probably an 8-foot angel. I couldn't see the face, just like standing over me. And there was such peace. But it felt like so real. It felt like this. And I sat up. I was at this women's conference. There was all these other women sleeping in the hotel room. I sat up and I was like, oh, I guess that was a dream. But it felt, and I just had like such peace. But I felt like God gave me that angelic encounter because I was asking for it. And it was just like, I'm here, I see. Which is exactly what I needed. I stayed in the Word, worship music. I mean, I felt like God just really kept my mind at peace in the midst of the storm. And it was so supernatural. So come to October 2010, like we were expecting Aaliyah to be healed, like 100%. I mean, I would have put money down on it. And like, it was just, God was so real and just so incredibly moving. And we got another ultrasound and her diagnosis was the same. And we were like, okay, not what we were expecting, but we're like, we've just felt the presence of the Lord so strong in a time when like you shouldn't feel that way. You all know what I'm talking about. So we went into the hospital room. I was induced, and I had like one verse go through my head the entire 24-hour labor. It was grueling, very grueling labor. And I'm going to read it. And it didn't make sense in the natural, but that's how God is. And it would go around and around to the point of like annoyance. Like I was like, I really don't want to be hearing this, but I feel like it's what got me through. And it was the exact opposite declaration of what was happening in the natural. It's Psalm 16:11. You probably heard it. You make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. Again and again and again. So I felt like he was speaking life and joy, his presence, eternal pleasures, and I'm like, this is crazy. They're saying our baby's gonna die. This is not, but again. So Aaliyah was born. She was stillborn, and like, yeah, definitely one of the most traumatic days of my life. But yet the presence of the Lord was so strong in that hospital room. Like you couldn't deny it. Like our families came in and all got to meet Aaliyah, and it was like, it was a holy moment. My brother-in-law, my husband is a twin, and Josh like got the sense. We figured it was soon as around the time Aaliyah passed, he saw like a bright light shoot up from the earth like into the heavens, and I believe that was Aaliyah leaving this earth. But again, it didn't make sense in the natural, but yet again, just God, just so faithful. Like we couldn't feel angry. I know there are people who are like, but you prayed for healing, you didn't see it. You're like, you don't understand the full picture. You don't understand what all he did. You don't understand like how close he was. And I think a lot of people miss that, unfortunately, if they take offense or they don't allow him to come in to their situation. So it was soon after that, people were like, we wanted to have a big celebration and life service. We waited a few weeks. And I just want to say amazing thank you again to Shively Funeral Home, if you've ever heard of them. They're in, I think, around Gap area. They are so pro-life. They took Aaliyah's body and they did everything for free. They do that for families who lose an infant, and made a beautiful casket. I mean, you'll see it in the pictures, just like stunning, and just their support was so kind. We paid nothing. And on top of that, when we went to bury Aaliyah, I will say this, just another touch of heaven. My husband's grandfather passed away at a young age, tragically, because of an accident. And his grandma offered to have us bury Aaliyah on top of his grave, because you don't need a full grave for an infant. You can do that. We said, Grandma, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. And then everyone realized, oh my word, Donald Hostetter's, that's his name, Ira Donald Hostetter, his birthday is October 25th, and he died on his birthday, October 25th, which is the exact same as Aaliyah. We're like, what? So they have the same birth and death date. So her little tombstone also says October 25th. Like literally, she's on top of his grave with the same birth and death date. You can't make that up. Wow. So after, around the time that she passed, everyone was like, we want to do something for you. Like, what do you do? But we had heard about this amazing ministry, and this is the redemption part that only God can do, in Kampala, Uganda, that literally sees hundreds of babies saved every year from abortion. They minister in the slums where the women have nothing. And, but they believe that they share the gospel, they give them clothing, they give them baby clothes, they give them mama kits so that they can go to the hospitals and have like clean gloves, like things that we take for granted here, and like the scissors, like cut the umbilical cord. You're like, what? You have to take that stuff there? But so they provide them with resources that they need. They have Bible studies. They pray with the women. They train them in like a skill to learn to earn a living for their family, because a lot of them don't have husbands that are with them anymore. We heard about this. We're like, wow, wouldn't that be great to give money in Aaliyah's honor? Like whatever we give to them, that'd be phenomenal. We had heard about them through my aunt and uncle who do missions work in Kampala. And the center is run by a woman, Veronica Nchewe, who was injured in the womb because her own mom tried to abort her. She literally can't, her legs don't work. She has like the arm crutches. She's a phenomenal woman. And so she became a believer and felt called to start this pregnancy center in the slums of Kampala. So we're like, yes, let's give money toward that. We collected like $1,000, which was great. I mean, we felt good about that. And so my aunt and uncle soon afterwards, Steve and Darla, they live in Ohio, were like, we're going there and we'll give the money to Veronica in person. We'll surprise her. We're like, awesome. So they're all excited. They take the long flight over. They get on the ground and Veronica is all excited. She meets them at the airport. I have something to show you. I have something to show you. They're like, okay. So they go to the Comforter Center, which is the pregnancy center, and she goes, I felt God tell me to told me to build a house of prayer. It's a hut, like literally, it's a hut, but it's African style. It's great. But she's like, and I was praying about it, and I felt God told me she'd heard about our story through my aunt and uncle to name it the Aaliyah Joy House of Prayer. My aunt and uncle are like, what? Like, oh my word, here's $1,000 in her honor. And she's like, are you serious? And that was just enough money. My uncle, who's a construction worker, was able to put a roof with that money on top of the Aaliyah Joy House of Prayer. We're like, okay, God, obviously you have something that you're wanting to do here. And it's a long story, I'll shorten it, but my parents ended up going over on a missions team with my aunt and uncle, and like Veronica started sharing her heart of like, I'm tired of raising money and coming to the United States. I want to build like an apartment building to house families in that's nice in the countryside, and then that income from the rent, I want to sustain the work of this pregnancy center. So we don't always have to be like, please give us money, because it's tiring, and she was traveling so much. And we prayed about it. We're like, you know what? We can do that. We have family and friends. Like, we'll build a house. Can we name it the Aaliyah Joy House? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So through much prayer, tears, warfare, we had stuff stolen off the land. I mean, it was crazy. We, with the help of many people, built the Aaliyah Joy House. And it is in beautiful countryside, not in Kampala, but outside. And it currently houses 6 families. It's so beautiful, and I had the chance to go 2 times to Uganda. The first time we prayed over the land, I read the Arise and Shine verses over it, and then the second time my husband and I went together. And the women were there, the babies were there. We took a team from Lancaster Bible College with my aunt and uncle, and we painted the Aaliyah Joy House. It was blood, sweat, and tears, but it was incredible. We had this amazing dedication, and like, we look at it and I'm like, I would have never chosen this, right? Like, never chosen this. I wouldn't choose like losing a child for my worst enemy. Like, we all have things. They're like really hard. But to see the redemptive piece is like only God can do that. And like literally hundreds of babies are being saved, and the income is generated from the Aaliyah Joy House. They're expanding. We get updates. I have some of the pictures. The women are learning like hairdressing skills and tailoring skills. They're learning how to provide for their family. They have ongoing Bible studies. I mean, it is phenomenal. And I know God's not done with it yet. And I just want to add on too, like in praying for the breakthrough, one of the things like I feel like I'm contending for, just to be really honest, Kim, I appreciate your honesty. We're all human. After Aaliyah died, probably gonna cry, we said, God, it feels like the enemy stole a child from us. We're going to take a child back for you. And so we had 3 more healthy children, biological children, after our own. But then we felt called to foster to adopt. But you got to be careful what you pray for. Say that in a good way, you know. Because we said we were going to take a child back from darkness. And we got a call about a dear little boy. It's not his fault, but he was severely, severely abused at a young age. And I'm just going to share, I don't share this with a lot of people, but he doesn't even know this, actually. But he was, his dad, we're not sure, we feel like there's a cult activity, gave him the name Osiris. Does anybody know what Osiris is? It's the Egyptian god that Freemasons worship. It's the god of death in the underworld. I had no clue what it meant. So we get this call about this little boy, Osiris Nathaniel. And we're like, yeah, I feel like that's right. It was the first call we got. My aunt, who's a real prayer warrior, says, Janae, do you know what that name means? And I said, no, I don't know. So I started doing this, and I'm like, wow. I just share the spiritual warfare around, his name is Nate. We adopted him. Nathaniel, we kept his name. Nathaniel Joel, because we're taking back what the locusts have stolen. But it has been an intense battle for a family and standing for life. And it's not his fault, but the trauma and the pain, as you know, it's real. Spiritual warfare is real, and we believe we're seeing a flip on his life as well. But it's a hard place right now. It still is. It's been 6 years since we adopted him almost. But I share this as well. God is so amazing. He's in the details. Soon after we adopted Nate, Children and Youth, if you're familiar with their binders. I don't know if anybody's seen one, but you adopt a child and you get one that's probably that big, and that represents their dear little life, and you're like, wow, okay. And you start reading history, and soon after we adopted Nate, I felt God say, Janae, I want you to go to Nate's file, and I want you to look at when he came into care. And kind of like you, I had not wanting to go to the gravesite. I had no interest in going. I mean, it just feels hard. It feels sad. My heart goes out to his family. It's a lot of brokenness. He's a third generation child that's adopted. Like, I mean, you look at the generational things, like where I'm believing that there's going to be a change in Nate with his future generations. But I was like, God, I don't really want to look at that. It feels too painful. He's like, I want you to go and look. So I went and looked, and I was like, oh my word. The day Nate was taken from his birth family and went to the hospital, and the doctors determined he needed to go into care because of the abuse, was November 6th, 2018. He was only 5 weeks old. The day we buried Aaliyah Joy was November 6th, 2010. 8 years to the day. And I felt God said, like, I see and I know, and I bring you redemption. And it's incredible. So anyway, I really, just in wanting to speak tonight, I wanted to read just another set of verses over you that have been very impactful for me. It's flip it over to Isaiah 61. I started in Isaiah 60, but we all, in all the places of our lives that have felt hard, where there's been trauma, pain, abuse, addiction, I mean, you fill it in, broken relationship, you know, a death of a loved one, we all have like hard things. I feel like God always wants to redeem these situations, and I really feel like Isaiah 61 is where the church is at. And so whatever your situation is, I want you to think about it as I read these verses, because this is often what I feel in regards to Aaliyah and now our son Nate and just our family, but I feel like it's for all of us in the church. I actually have part of this, and it goes to the trees and the water, what you were talking about, or just the trees. You were talking about trees next to water. I feel like it talks about the oaks of righteousness, and it's a verse that's on our bedroom wall. So, Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and to release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, and to provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of the spirit of despair. And they will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. I'll read a little bit further. 4 says, they will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated. They will renew the ruined cities that have been devastated for generations. So I just speak that over all of you, wherever you're at in life. I don't know all your stories, but God does. But like, he really does redeem. He really does just repair all the things that Kim shared too. And he's so generous and kind. And yeah, thank you for allowing me to share. But if it's okay, I'd love to share my pictures, because I feel like it helps to. There was too many to pick from, dear Kim, and then it was hard. I had a hard time sending them to her. She had a hard time putting them out. But as she does, I just wanted to, these are the footprints of Aaliyah that they just used like little molding clay. Women's and Babies was amazing, and so they just like stamped her feet in these. So I keep these. They're like just a symbol of her dear little feet. I think my aunt, I forget, or maybe it was someone in Africa, I forget. They were like, she never took a breath, but yeah, she's like impacting like the nations. Like literally, who can do that but God? Like only him. And then also just wanted to share, I'm like big into, it's so sweet. This was the bear they gave me in the hospital, and I slept with this in her blanket for the first year after she passed. It was like so comforting to me, but it looks so matted and sad. But these are like two of my things that I have kept in her bin. But Women's and Babies was amazing. If you know of anyone who's facing a hard pregnancy or given like a poor prognosis for the baby, I mean, the chaplain, like strong believers, counseled us so well, like made sure that we were well cared for, just thought of everything, and so can't say enough.
I thought this was gonna just be there, but
Oh, it
it's
did go
not,
off.
so, yeah,
Oh.
but that's okay.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, while this is
Or
loading, any
I know I kind of shared a lot, but
questions or encouragements, or, I know Janelle is an adoptive mom, right?
oh,
Mm-hmm.
how many children did you adopt?
We have 5 natural and then 2 that are adopted.
Okay.
But we had a baby that we were supposed to adopt, and the mother changed her mind at 16 days. So I think
Wow.
kind of,
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it can't be as devastating as death, but
Yeah,
it
that's
felt like it
devastating.
at the time.
Oh yeah. Yep. Wow.
Okay, I think we got it up.
Okay. So we'll run through these quick. This was soon before.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry, it'll go, well, what is it doing?
What is happening? This is like soon before I gave birth. So yeah, this was just me. It was like, it wasn't the day I did, but anyway, it was kind of. My sister-in-law did a maternity shot, which was really special. So we have all these pictures of me pregnant. That's my husband, Rod. This was soon after Aaliyah was born. She was really tiny. And now I lay me down to sleep. It's a ministry that comes in and takes pictures in the hospital, which is such a gift.
Oh, wow. Can you
So-
see her little hat?
Yeah.
Can you guys
The
see?
baby's head with the deformity, it's very small because most of the brain has been gone. So the rest of her body was like perfectly formed, but she didn't have much of a head.
How
It was
long
just-
did they allow you to have her?
They are so kind for as like literally as long as they wanted. So we were there overnight, and I don't want to give a ton of details, but babies passing are much different than adults. Like it's very different. Like the decay, like it wasn't gross.
Yeah.
I think some people would be like, what? But like it's very lifelike, like she was. So we stayed overnight and into the next day. Family was able to come in. Women's and Babies was amazing. So I feel like we had a good time. And then Shively came and picked her up. So this was at the memorial service. Some of our family was doing worship, but we had like a ton of people come to the church just to honor her. So that's the box Shively provided. That was right next to Donald's grave is like right there, I think. But yeah, the grandfather's grave. So there was us. But yeah, just a private family that was there. So there's a toilet in the background, just realizing that. This is in Africa, fast forward a little bit. So this is, we had taken a bunch of clothes on my first ministry trip over there. We took so many supplies. So we were going over to dedicate the land with a team and my aunt and uncle. So this was in 2014. I was pregnant with there was Aaliyah and then Rylan and then my daughter Brinley. So I was actually pregnant, not far along here in Africa. This is the Aaliyah Joy House of Prayer. You can see why I call it a hut, but it's awesome. Like they gather in here, they have Bible studies. They've painted it since then. It's a little rundown, but anyway. So this is the pregnancy center is right here. So this is in the heart of Kampala. I love this picture. We went and ministered to a whole bunch of different kids. This was kids from the slum. I mean, they're just amazing. So full of joy. We were telling them about Jesus. So
She's right in the middle. Do you see her?
if you can't see, I'm the light-skinned one. They all have beautiful skin. This is my mom and my mother-in-law, and this is standing in front of the Aaliyah Joy House. So this is on my first trip over there in 2014 to dedicate the land. And this is Veronica Nchewe. We gifted her with, this is kind of, you can see how outdated it is, a digital camera. Now people are like, what? But that was at the center, meeting her in person. So yeah, that was really exciting. She's the lady who started the pregnancy center. And this is, you can see Veronica there. We were holding babies, our team. The women just come and gather. They nurse. We talk about Jesus. They shared testimony. Super encouraging. So that's at the pregnancy center. This is having a moment on the land. We were reading scripture. We had prayer walked it. There was like cows walking through. I mean, we're way out. Now it's like really developed. There's tons of beautiful homes, but this was in the early stages. There was nothing. People were looking at us like, who are all these people? But and that was the first team that went. This is my aunt and uncle. This is Darla and Steve who brought the team. This is my cousin Tershelle. Again, my mom and sister-in-law, and then the rest of the team. This is Herbert is an amazing Ugandan. He was our faithful driver. Harriet works at the center as well, and then Veronica. So sorry, it's a little blurry, but this is the beginning stages and after the prayer time. This says 2017. I don't know if that, maybe like 3 years later. Again, there was a ton of war, but it started. We started. So you can see the beginning stages, and the roof is going on. We get these exciting updates. So it's a beautiful building. I mean, you'll see. It's, oh boy, lots of hard work. I don't know what exactly they were doing, but it has indoor plumbing. It has electricity. Which is phenomenal. It's the steps going on. No doors. Those are the front doors. That's fine.
I went too fast.
So then in 2019, my husband and I went back and we took a team with Lancaster Bible College, and my aunt and uncle led the team, and we painted like just all of it.
Looks like a big building.
It is. It's 6 apartments. So there's our team. Again, there's Steve and Darla in the front that led the team. This is my 6'6" brother. That was an honor that he got to come, me. So, and we blessed the women. We took tons of supplies. I mean, all the baby clothes, the blankets, ministered to the women. This was at the dedication service. We'd invited like all the people locally, the women and children. We fed everyone, which is like a really big deal. A lot of people didn't get a meal every day, and we blessed them, which felt so good. With a really good meal. And then this is Justine. She's the current director now. So this would be, and it was, and she was the one.
This is amazing.
Yeah, like so fancy, right? They're all, we like, don't look, they all dress so fancy. So then she had a time of sharing, and this was the actual dedication service. This is in the Aaliyah Joy House of Prayer. You can see it's been updated and painted. It looks a lot better.
And they really pack them in there.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they really do. Yep.
Wonderful.
So this is standing in front of the Comforter Center. There's Rod and I, my brother. There's all of us. We ministered there a lot. We were down in the slums. We were handing out Bibles, handing out food. So many awesome things. There's our official sign. That went on the side of the building, and that is still there. And it said, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Isaiah 61:2. Also, Aaliyah Joy on her tombstone is Isaiah 1-2. Is on her tombstone. So, see a theme. That was just us standing in front of it. Rod's shirt, he hated that shirt. I'm like, wear it, honor them, please. It's now in our kids' dress up. They like, but he hated it. So there you can see those are the water tanks. And we put a wall, so it's very safe, which is typical in Uganda. It has a barbed wire. I know that doesn't look inviting, but it keeps the family safe. They have we pay a guard, and there's a dog, so they can pull their cars in. There's a gate, like that's how everyone does it there. So it's not like we're trying to be exclusive. It just makes them all feel safe. So nothing can be stolen. There they are. That's the guard house. The guy is painting it. We pay him to sleep there, so he's there all the time. And there, it just has some more. You can kind of see the fancy stonework. And that's the inside. We put this nice thing so they can park there. We planted fruit trees are in there. So it's like very like self-sustaining. I think it's like it feels like a nice place for families to live. Even though they're not big apartments, but yeah. This is a very current picture. This is the type of Bible study and mentoring that they're doing. I mean, it's phenomenal. So this is what they're able to do because of the rent income from the Aaliyah Joy House. So this is at the pregnancy center in Kampala. Some of the women, they just had a celebration of some graduations. Again, they're hosting like schools and training, so they were celebrating. There was some sort of graduation. You can see all the pregnant moms and babies. One thing they do differently, it's super hot. We're like dumping buckets. I think it's just a cultural thing. I don't know. They all look beautiful. They're hardly sweating. And they wrap their babies in warm blankets, and all the babies seem fine. We're all like, isn't that kid dying? Nope, they look great. So just different culture.
Did she give birth like shortly after this?
Probably. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably. They all are like very. This is a tailoring class. So I just got, this is from their latest newsletter. They're making all these dresses, and they take them into town. They have stands. They sell them. They make jewelry. Yeah, very beautiful stuff.
So maybe we could have them ship some stuff here and we could sell it for them.
That would be
I
amazing.
might buy stuff.
That'd be amazing. This is another, just a mom. They have so many awesome moms and they're sweet babies. just coming in. This is my parents, Donnell and Miles, and you can see up here they were able to go with my aunt and uncle a few years ago. I forget, it was like 2 or 3, and they got to visit the Leah Joy house. So that was special because they hadn't been there. So, and then this is our son Nate. I just put that we have a Facebook page, but I just put like God's redemption plan. So that's Nathaniel Joel. Yeah, he's very cute.
He is cute.
Nate. And then this is our kids, Rylan, Brinley, Isaiah, Nate, and you can see Aaliyah Joy Hostetter. We always put an ornament there at Christmas time. You can see kind of Isaiah 60, 1-2. So we have that declared on our tombstone. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
But
That is one.
thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me share. Does anyone have anything they want to say or?
You have 2 boys and 2 girls?
Yes, that's right. Yep. Yeah.
It looks like Nate looks like your other children.
That's what everyone says.
Mhm.
That's a God thing. Yes.
Mhm.
Everyone says
Yes.
that.
Wow.
All we told children and youth when we went in, because you can put your intent, we said it was to adopt. We just said we want a little boy that's younger than our son. That's all we said. No other stipulations. I'm like, of course, God, you would do that.
Mhm.
In all the details, yeah. But we do see great breakthrough with Nate, and I know it's still coming, but just being honest, it is a place of our needed breakthrough for our family. Yeah.
He's a miracle working God.
Yes, he
Yes,
is.
that's
Yeah.
right.
And I understand with the butterflies and the cardinals and all that, because I'm at the Potter's house right now. Every time I go through something, I'm like, God, and here comes the butterfly. You know, can you tell Jesus this? And I mean, I'm talking about all the time with nature. God really do speak to you through nature.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he
Yeah,
does.
it's his creation.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a child from Uganda who's actually
Oh,
international.
that's awesome. Yeah. How old are they?
Oh, I've had several. I think Oduba. I think he's going to be like 12.
Okay. That's
in
awesome.
September.
But I would say, yeah, the Ugandan people, so full of joy, so generous, so kind. It was very humbling because you go to their house and they're like, here, eat this. They don't have anything, right? But just so generous, beautiful smiles. I mean, just amazing people. So forever impacted. Yeah.
And I have him, as my sponsored child.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and how you said God is in the details. You know, that's kind of what we were talking about before. Like, we need to notice those things that sometimes, you know, we're too busy to notice. But he's in the details, and he's in the restoration business.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that he restored to you
Mm-hmm.
by helping
Mm-hmm.
the people
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So good.
And how all your dates lined up, and
I mean,
you
that's
know,
only God.
Yeah.
That's only God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janae, have you heard of the Sweet Pea Foundation?
Yes, I did hear of them before. Yeah.
I have a friend whose daughter founded that.
Okay.
And like you, she had a stillborn little girl, and she put purpose into this
Mhm.
horrible thing, because at that time, this was about 20 years ago, stillborn babies were not given death certificates,
Mm-hmm.
or birth certificates.
Yeah,
They
we-
were given death certificates.
We did not get
but
one
not
for Aaliyah.
birth
They did not give
certificates.
us one.
Wow. Well, now you can, because this girl actually was instrumental in getting
Wow.
the law passed that they have to offer it.
That's
to you
amazing.
now.
I didn't
It
know that.
took years and years.
Wow. Well, she
You
was
know, they said
full term.
This person died, but there's no proof that she was born. And this really, anyway, God puts purpose into
Yeah.
Yes.
some horrible thing.
There's purpose
It
in the
does,
pain,
yeah.
and that's that eternal perspective too. You know, it's not our natural thing that we look for purpose in our pain, but you know, there is definitely purpose in our pain, and yeah, God uses that, you know, in our lives to help other people. Then, but,
And God is in the pain too.
Mhm.
I know that He feels our pain. When Jesus hung on that cross, it wasn't just Jesus, it was God Himself, it was the Father too.
Mm-hmm.
So He's feeling the same
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, anyone else? Any comments or? It's an amazing story, how you
Thank
turned
you.
your pain into helping other people, so that's, I think, what we're called to do,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
None of us likes to go through it, but, you know, he brings us through it and then he provides ways for us to help other people, right? So it's
This story
encouraging, very
isn't done.
encouraging.
We would love to take our kids there one day. Feels like a lot to travel now, but when they may be a little bit older. But
Mhm.
we attend Life Center Church in Harrisburg, and just on Sunday there was a beautiful woman sitting in front of me. She turned around and started talking to her. She's like, "I'm Jessica." She's like, "I'm from Uganda." I'm like, "Of course." I'm like,
Wow.
"What?" And then she's like, "My father was the bishop of northern Uganda for many years. He just passed. I was just there." And I'm thinking, wow, okay. And then she said, I told her, I'm like, well, we partner with a ministry there. And she's like, Gladys, her sister was sitting beside her. She's like, listen to this. They're both nurses, traveling nurses. They just got back. They were both talking about, we need to help the women and children of Uganda, but we don't know how to do this. We need resources.
Wow.
They witnessed
That's
pregnant
God.
women sitting outside of the hospital. It's like 6 hours north of Kampala. And they're like, this isn't right. We need to empower women. We need to teach them skills. How can we do this? And I'm like, so I start talking and they're like, she's like, I have to get your number. So like this just happened. So I'm like, okay, only God.
Right.
There's like hundreds of people at church and she sits right in front of me. Anyway.
Yeah, like we said,
God's
there's
never done.
There's no coincidences.
There's no coincidences.
It's all lined up by him, and who knows? Maybe there'll be more Aliyah Joy houses
Cool.
in Uganda.
Nothing would surprise me because
No.
God's that good.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thank you.
sharing. We
Yeah.
appreciate you,
Yeah.
and
definitely.
we should give her.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you, everyone on Facebook Live, for joining us, and we'll be back next week. We'll see you then.